Okay, now let's talk about table tennis. So, what is table tennis? Table tennis, popularly known as ping pong, is one of the fast growing sports wherein one to two players are on each side of the table and one player is holding one racket each. They play with one ping pong ball across the table. Throughout the term, you have learned about the equipment used and the rules and regulations of the game. So much for that. Now let's move on to talking about two of the four main strokes in table tennis, the forehand and backhand short push. A push is a more defensive shot rather than a drive. It can make the opponent go off balance and help the defense player set up an attack. Allow us to give you a breakdown of what to expect in the presentation.
First up, we are here to tell you not only about the stroke, but also the background of the stroke. The nature of the stroke generally expounds on what the stroke is and how the skill is played. Next, we will also be talking about when the stroke must be used. The timing of when the stroke is to be used will help in strategizing your game plan. Following that, there will be the actual demonstration of the skill with particular steps to follow from the stance to the finished position. Drills for the skill that will help develop the stroke will also be shown in this presentation. Lastly, we will also expound on the importance of the skill in the game. We hope by the end of this lesson you become more interested in the sport and you apply the lessons you learned out of this.
Moving on to the nature of the game, let us talk about forehand short push. Forehand short push is the hardest along among the four basic strokes in table tennis. This is because it requires a lot of rotation and movement from the hips, torso, and shoulders. The aim is to create a backspin through playing back, down, and underneath the ball. One has to extend his or her arms when executing the skill. Later, you will learn the four important things to remember when doing the skill. Next, we have the backhand short push, wherein you use the backside of the racket to hit the ball. Similar to the forehand short push, one has to still extend his or her arms in doing the skill. However, there is less rotation needed when executing it. This stroke is rarely used depending on where the player is more comfortable. Forehand short push is still the commonly used stroke to receive short underspin serves.
As mentioned earlier, a push is used as a more defensive shot rather than a drive. This is because when one attacks with a short push, it is usually not expected by the server, therefore giving the server shorter time to respond to the defense. Both forehand and backhand short pushes is highly recommended to be used when returning short underspin serves, thus making the defense player avoid from receiving attacks immediately. Just make sure that when you apply short push strokes, you have a quick and alert reaction when you're getting into the shot and recovering from the shot.
Now let us move on to the actual demonstration of the skill. Firstly, let us be reminded of the SBSF, which is the stance, backswing, strike, and finish. This is all explained in the help of experttabletennis.com. The stance when executing forehand short push has to follow the playing hand. Basically, if one is right-handed, one has to put his right foot slightly backward, knees bent, body crouched, and no arms behind the body. The backswing has to have an angle of at least 45 degrees and only needs an adequate amount of body twisting in the execution. The push is definitely a softer shot, thus it requires less force in the execution. The strike requires a slight rotation and transfer of weight to the front foot. The elbow may slightly open due to the movement. The soft brushing action is needed when hitting the ball and the bat must always be open. The finish of the stroke is as important as the rest of the other factors. Make sure to follow the path of the ball right after as to not miss it. One has to be quick in recovering from this stroke. For backhand short push, the stance of the body is similar to the backhand drive wherein the feet and body are in square with the line of play. The backswing must also attain an angle of 45 degrees while the elbows are slightly open and bent. The aim is to bring the ball backwards and slightly upwards. The strike's technique is to brush the ball and bring the bat forward and down from the elbow. Similar to the forehand short push, the angle must remain open. On the finishing of the stroke, the arms must be slightly bent with the elbows open. More importantly, the bat must stay in front of the player and following the path of the ball.
Go. 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 Now that the skill has finally been explained, we would like to share with you four important letters in the stroke. SBSF. These letters stand for stance, backswing, strike, finish. As explained in the demonstration of the skill, these four words guide the player, prepare, and attack properly for the play, thus making it easier for him or her to manipulate the opponent. The short push strokes are important to learn because it comes in handy when the strategy of the opponent is to give short serves. Short push strokes are usually unexpected by the opponent, which makes it harder for them to return it back. Short push strokes are a few of the hardest strokes to learn, but when mastered, it will really help in strategizing your game plan.
Again, this has been Group 1, and we hope that you learned a lot about these two types of push strokes in table tennis. We hope that you continue to indulge in a fast growing sport. Thank you for watching.